guys can see, right? This is the same example that we were seeing yesterday. So we will see how it works. I think I'm signing in. So first, this is what you will get, right? So you have to log in. So once you log in, it will ask you for authorization over here. So you're giving your authorization and it says you have logged in. But this login doesn't mean you will get the access, right? So one important thing you should confirm by clicking here and going to this forum is whether you are a verified user or not. So that you can get by clicking here, you see, you will get this icon. You are a verified user. So this is one important thing that you guys can check whether you are in this verified list or not. If this is till here it is there, let's see what else we can do. So currently what is happening is the devices are not available to overseas market. Maybe you will do this and this is the error all of us might be getting. So the moment you get this, so what you can do is try changing this one to China. This is not a permanent solution. This is only till we have certain rules set up for overseas. That is also in the process. Maybe by end of today or tomorrow, that also should not be a problem. Then once you go here, just do refresh. So you see the devices appear. So when I go with phone, I click here. Sometimes when you are trying, maybe many people are trying parallelly because of resource crunch, you might have got a rejection, but this is a general way where everybody should get a resource. In my case also, I think behavior in your devices, and some people who didn't got this kind of behavior change, they can try changing it. Now for people, since it will be in Chinese, I'll just give once how to change the locale here or the language. Okay. This I have achieved by doing it multiple times. So there is a settings page at the end of it. So you click this and the third, again you select. Since it's a server page, it's taking a little bit of time. So once you change your language, you can even change the country, everything. We can use in English language the entire. So you can see the features, how it is done, how the UI layouts have been designed. So many things you can understand by doing this.
But this change for for changing the language is only temporary, right?
Yeah, till you launch the next one. So each instance you will get for an hour. So like how you have this local simulators for wearable vision, you will soon get it for phone also. So that should help your issue in terms of how we work. This entire process will go off. So where you have to change many things here, right? So here you have to do HVD. There is a resource. This is a remote server that is called local device. So local device will be there with you only. So all the time you can verify this. Okay, so I hope this should be good for us to start off today's session. Any other general issues that we are facing?
Yeah, I'm getting that request devices failed error quite frequently. I wasn't able to actually connect. So I'm assuming like if we get
I think this is one important thing you need to double check. check whether you are in this verified list or not.
Yeah.
Hold on till today. Today, by end of today or by tomorrow, we will have some more update for you guys so that you can start using the local simulators. Then you don't have to do any of these things.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir,
So that is, yeah.
I'm
Hello?
unable to log into this page itself. Like it says incorrect ID and password.
Come again.
It says incorrect ID and password in the first login step itself.
So then you know what needs to be done, right? So you need to configure your username password properly. Recover it from the phone number that you have done. It is similar to how
with my
we
phone number, it says the account isn't registered. You have to register a new account with the mobile number.
come again.
It says to register a new account with the mobile number. There isn't any account existed with my mobile number linked.
Maybe your existing number is existing, so you try to recover your password. Try to recover your password, so that should help you getting back your settings.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So if all these kind of login issues and all, maybe we will handle it in a unified way. We will soon do that one. If the local thing comes up, right, then you don't have to do many of these things. Automatically you can do. But this login, these things are important for you to create an application, do these operations, and also submit your application in app gallery. So that will be some main target for any of open source developer, right? His application or library is available in open source and many people are using it. So that is a real kind of a benefit that we get out of it. So we will resolve it for initial development days. I think it should not matter much. So apart from this, I think in terms of assignment, I would like to add another point. I think we have another extension here. So based on today's morning session, right? So we have extended our login and sign in page. So login page, again, we will do tomorrow. After tomorrow's database training, you will be able to do further. So right now, you can see there is one thing that is added over here. That is your forms. User forms has been added. So whenever a sign up is clicked in ability slice, you will do this form. You can see there is edit text box that have been added. There is a button and there is a checkbox that has been added, right? Radio buttons have been added. So this has another thing of validation, form validation. So this validation, you can keep anything, but email, at least email should be, it should have @ and dot in it, right? Something like that. So you need to do input validation for all these things. Till here, you can do complete it today. And once you click sign up, how you should save it in the database. Tomorrow morning, we will share one database training. So post that, you can continue that part. So the next training extension from tomorrow will be this. So maybe I'll post it in our dev group.
Does database handling come under day 3 or the entire thing is day 2?
Today's is that is day 3. Whatever yesterday was day 1, today is day 2, tomorrow is day 3.
Okay. So the form fill up, just the fill up.
Yes.
Okay.
So we will do progressive way so that it will be easier for us. And we don't want you guys to push a lot to do things. It should be very simple and easy. That's the whole idea for doing this one. And whoever we will also are making a note who are unable to complete it on time. And by tomorrow, we will start sharing the solutions for day 1. Whatever was there yesterday, if somebody were not able to do, so we will share the result. So from there, you can start developing day 2's work also. Okay. So that will be how we will see. We don't want you guys to feel that the reason mentors are reviewing your code is to improvise your coding capability or some of the basic coding practices. But overall, we are looking into your participation and how much effort you are putting to understand this, right? So with that, let us start today's session. That is our development on JavaScript. So before going and explaining, doing hands-on, let us see a little bit on how JavaScript. I hope you guys remember this part. Okay. So where we had a framework layer that we were trying to explain while doing Harmony architecture. So here, if you see the definition of framework layer, it says this provides application framework and ability framework and supports multiple languages. But there are two frameworks that are integrated as part of Harmony, that is Java UI framework and JS UI framework. JS here stands for JavaScript. So apart from that, C and C++ are used for native development. The majority of the native libraries or supporting libraries, so for which to be ported on Harmony or developed in Harmony. So C and C++ language also is there. I think in Valluri's discussion, some of you were talking about some of these native libraries, right? So those all are already supported. Those kind of features are already supported. Then we are talking about application layer. Application layer is same as the terminologies of feature ability and particle ability still remains the same. Yesterday we saw few of these differences, right? That is from here. So here we were seeing more to do like how the pack is configured, how the different apps, HAPs can be there within a single app, and how it is distributed, and how when it is deployed from the app store based on the need, the corresponding HAP gets downloaded. It also depends on the type of capability the device is having and how it will be done. So in JavaScript, this kind of thing is extensively used, and one of the prime usage of JavaScript is it can be used in multiple screen formats and multiple devices easily. It is much easier to implement in HTML, JS, and CSS using these three components. We can use the web technologies and accommodate different screen sizes. So this is how the Java framework is available. When you see here, right now we are only talking about JavaScript FAs here, feature ability. So there we have a Mvvm model. Mvvm model, simply put, it is view model and model logic. I think many of you would have already seen it. The most important and very important feature of this is data binding, where it is closely connected to the model and how the views should be separated. The way view is separated so independently, and it only depends on the data objects that it is linked with the model. So that is what makes this MVVM more powerful, and the views can be spread across different screens. So that is one big advantage that we have. Apart from that, in the framework, we saw many of these things, but internal to JS framework or JS engine itself, there are few things that have been incorporated. There is a complete Java and JS integrated framework, where we provide multiple components, the APIs from the JS engine, routing feature, and event handling feature. So this event handling, routing are key features of JavaScript framework. So in the engine, actual engine part, if you see animation is used for rendering the animation components that are present here. So if you see the pipeline before, maybe it's a little bit down. Let me show that. So this is good. So if this is the OS layer, that is above that, this entire engine takes care of abstracting the interfaces or the implementations that are here, and still make sure these porting APIs are fulfilled, like the surface view, the event handling, vsync, and the harmony ability lifecycle. So this engine makes sure it is similar to Java engine framework in terms of lifecycle management, in terms of vsync, how each time at every vsync it is refreshed, how the events are captured from Java layer to JS layer, and how the surface is drawn. So we have a rendering engine, theming engine, image provider, layout and animation for the view. In terms of input and event management, we have specific modules, and there are specific channels established for getting hardware interfaces or hardware information to the JS layer. From Harmony till here, you can still get some of the packages are already implemented, through which you can directly start using the implementation. Something like if you want to access Wi-Fi, if you want to access Bluetooth, if you want to access routing feature. So all of them are added in terms of modules or libraries, which you can directly start using. I think that's it about in terms of theory for JavaScript. Let us get into the practical usage and see how it goes. Okay, let's start from this. I think let us create a new project now. So we will try to stick to phone. Later in the coming sessions, we will try to see how we will cover multi-screen. Today we will focus more on trying to understand how this entire JS is working. And I will try to introduce from the developer document what sections you should read so that you are well versed with the terminologies. So we will give same name as yesterday, maybe was only button JS. We'll use that name, and I'll stick to API 5 version. So in a similar way, we will try to dissect what is there in the project and what all needs to be taken care. Let's see how it goes. Let's not see these things. Let's go from let it get configured. We'll see this. So as we started, let us go from bottom up. We will see the extensions. It is similar to what we saw yesterday. What are the dependencies that are there? Usually, if you see here, you can see more based on TV, IVI, variable. There are additional jars that have been added here. So that will help you to understand how specific additional information is needed for specific devices. So we were seeing everywhere, right? Submodules will get added for specific type of device form. So this is one another way of seeing what are the special things that are available for us. Maybe in terms of you see IVI. So what kits are available for us? If you are seeing variable, so all these things are available here for us. So let's start from settings. So again, it is only an entry module that needs to be compiled from the Gradle file. So from the local property, we have only the node here. These two are very important for JS applications to work. Without node modules, it won't get compiled. And then there is nothing special we have added for this. And here, if you see, similar to yesterday, we have few of the dependent files, and HAP, everything is same as yesterday. We don't have any special thing for JS alone. Then I think we will go with build.gradle. Package everything. We don't do any packaging right now, so it is same as yesterday. This is also default one. So let's see what is there in build.gradle of the module entry. So here it is dependent on the compile version, the test kit. I think it's exactly same as what we saw yesterday. So nothing special. So let's see what is really changing. So here, when I see in main, suddenly I see two folders. There is a Java file and a JS file. So I'm more intrigued in checking always the config file to see how it is really linked. So let's see what is different in terms of application. We are seeing the same set of information version. It is how it has been created, what is the release type that we are working with, and the module. Right now, this is a name we have created. There is an application, so this is same as that one, my application. The device type is phone, and it is an install type. There is an ability with the name main ability, that is also there. So till here nothing changed, right? But one of the main thing that adds upon here is we have a JS module altogether. So here, the moment this kind of information is there, this says we have a JS based application here. So this is kind of an hybrid application, basically, where the Java framework allows you to create the lifecycle components and the events. The JS is purely used for view handling, and it is a complete application, but it can leverage the features that are available through Java as well. So if you see here, here it is trying to tell about pages, and the moment you see this, this is talking about whatever is there in JavaScript folder under pages module, which is the index module. This is the first page that you need to show over there. So that's what it is trying to tell me. And also it is trying to tell this is a default one. And it is a width of the window that we are defining here. So this is the information I get directly by checking only the config file. Till now, we haven't seen anything. So before seeing what is there in JS, let me just try to run this here. So when it runs, right, since we are opened over here, so it comes here in the other project. So you can see this is the same process we were seeing yesterday also. So and it has started over there. So you can see here, it is telling hello world. So let's see how this hello world came into picture. So let's see open. So right now we have a default folder, and we have under pages. Actually, this is index. The IntelliJ system makes it pages dot index. Ideally, it is pages, another folder that is index. Under that, we have this. To confirm this, let us directly go for file path and see how it is. If you see here, it's pages. Under that, there is a folder called index. Under that, this is there. So this is how it is there. So when we are reading any JS applications in Harmony, first thing we should see is app.js. It is equivalent to the application that we are having here. And here, when you see this, it also has an on create and on destroy. So this is something that will be called for the first time to create memory allocation in the JS engine for this application. So then we will directly hop on to index.html. Usually you will see in many of the places it is HTML. So when we are saying HTML here, the meaning of that is it is Harmony OS markup language. So there are few elements and tags that are different from the generic HTML. So there are few special implementations that are being done, but it still follows the ECMA standard for how each of these conventions are used, right? So then coming back to HTML understanding, I think many of you are already aware, or this will be one of the basic things that we will be doing from very early age, right? So this is a division or a divider. The name of class that is used for recognition is container. Then we have a text module. Then that is having a name as title class. So here you see few things, right? Can anybody tell what is the meaning of this? If you guys are aware with JavaScript and HTML, maybe this is pretty straightforward for you. If you guys are not aware, let me explain that one. Yeah, somebody has an answer?
Mapping the string dot hello from the JSON and US or something like that to the title. So we are
Okay,
seeing the title
so
hello.
this is basically the query that we are doing for this string over here. So we are trying to search for string.hello here. So this is defined by the locales. That is already there is a folder here. So this helps us clearly differentiating the content that is there in different languages. If you see, there is a query that's happening over here with this method function that we are calling. So then directly we are trying to check string.hello. And there is another thing called title. What is this title supposed to be?
Style.
This is style.
Is
This
reading
is
from the title is reading from some constant. Here it is
so there
printing.
is a data component that is added over here. So usually when we see for this, usually we go and check in JavaScript. So if you see, there is a data component called title here, and it is empty. And then we have the final important thing, that is our styling, right? The most important thing is CSS. So based on the class, each of these components have different styles. So here we are telling the container. So where we are trying to say it's flex layout. So it has a direction of column, that is it will be in vertical direction we have, and justification is at the center, and items are also told to be aligned at the center. So this is what all about here. And in JavaScript, we saw another important thing where here we are already trying to query another string that is nothing but world. What is part of the world is this is a value. So we are trying to fetch the value from this ID. So it's basically an ID that we have it in JSON format. So we got it over here. Now, like yesterday, let us not directly dig more and start more. We will directly see from preview what exactly we can see. So what we are seeing here is some Chinese, right? Can anybody tell what might be the issue?
Local.
Yes, locale of the device. So where here there is an option to change that one. So the language can be changed from C into English, and immediately you see it gets reflected over here. So the same thing we saw in our device also, right? So it's the same thing that we are able to see here also. So like yesterday, let us try adding some feature. Let's debug some of the information and see what all we can do about it. So I think yesterday what we did after the text was there, I think we added a simple button, right? So we will go with the same approach to make sure we are doing similar kind of a functionality both in Java and JS. So what we will do, we will try to do button. And to add, I will add some class by the name button only. It can be anything, but I am giving it as button. So that's it. So when I save and I preview, is it coming? It didn't come, right? Why it didn't come?
We have to add some text for the button.
Correct. So it's the same rule that we applied yesterday. But I don't know much of this syntax, everything, right? So I will still try to take help of IDE and try to see what I can achieve from that. So I will try to do the same thing over here. Here again, it is giving me a component tree. So here I see this is a text, there is a button, but it is not existent. I think one of the most important thing about button is what? It should have a value, right? So let me add a value for button. We will call it as next. So it came. So that's a good thing. So next, I think after value has come, so let's see what all additional things we can do. We will do the same things what we did yesterday. We'll not try to create something special over here. We'll do the same thing what we tried. Yesterday, I think you guys can start telling me what all the things we should do. Anyone?
Increase the font size and padding to
Okay.
look the
Let me see the size. Now it is font size is. So what should I put? Maybe let's do 32 over here. So did it increase? Yeah, it is overflowing, right? So this is overflowing. That means it's increased. Okay. So you can see here on the left side, whatever changes I am doing, it is accepting those changes. So another important thing yesterday we did was what? I think we did padding, right? So if you check for padding, it has a lot of information. Let us give more padding on the sides, and maybe I will try to give 40. Another 40. Oh, no, get it around. This is the bottom is again 20. Left, I will try to give. So this looks like a button for us. Let's see if it is looking like a button. Somewhat. Anything else we would like to add?
so we can increase the text size.
We will increase the text size more. Okay, let's do that. Maybe let us make it 50 so that it. Okay, fair enough. So there can be what all the other things that we can play around. Now we have an entire container with us, right? So let's see what container properties are available. So container is telling everything needs to be aligned and flex direction is column. What will happen if I make it row? So it is one next to another one. So it's as simple as that. So we directly can change without knowing much of, definitely knowing HTML, CSS and JavaScript helps. But for starting off and to start developing it, you don't have to be an expert there, but you should know the basic syntaxes that is happening and that you can take it here, right? So next, any we can change the colors also, right?
Sir, why is it not rectangular?
Because by default it has been made in this way. The button has a property that we have set, which is having this radius curve.
Border hyphen radius, we can set it as 0 or something. Border hyphen radius.
Yeah. So this is a default, but we don't have that direct attribute over here. Let us see if it is available. Let me see.
In style, we can. think border hyphen yeah.
So that's it. So this is all basic our styling properties that are there if we are employing. I was expecting it to be here also. If it's not there, I think we will raise a thing to correct that. So even the text color, you can see here, everything is handled. There are different text colors. There are background, the color of button itself. I think color also we can change. This is a default one.
Margin, top margin.
Yes, yes. Margin is something we tried yesterday, right? There also we try to add margin. Margin on top, maybe we can add 20. So it automatically comes into picture. So there is another brilliant way to change all these things and move this information from HTML. You guys are aware of that? I can move all this information.
.css file.
Exactly. So we can directly say for title class, I am doing all these things. So I don't have to see what all CSS parameters newly we have missed. So we can directly say for this class, this is the property that we do. Usually for a much simpler way, we can create a standard way of doing is it should have been a button class. So we set this CSS for the button, and wherever I use a button, it picks the same parameters for the button. So that's how we do. For our simplicity, we are just doing this way. So let us not change anything here, and let's see what the preview of this is.
Class is titled.
Oh, class is title, right? Sorry, we did one mistake. So we are back in business. So this is what we are supposed to do. And one more important life cycle event that comes to us is after initializing ability. OnInit is called. This is the first thing that gets called from the life cycle events. So from here, the control is there with JS, and there we can implement everything. But one important thing I want to show here is in Java also we have couple of things. So we have an application here also, and we have main ability. But there is a small change here. It is extending not from ability, from A's ability. So A's ability is another class where it is supporting the Java JS UI framework. So because of this, so whenever we try to launch any JS based applications, we need A's ability from Java. So also it creates another bond between Java and JS where the information exchange or the calling between these two UI layers can be handled. So you can also launch Java applications from JavaScript, and also you can launch few services from JavaScript also, and vice versa. So what we call UI based abilities, we call it as feature abilities. Whatever we have service based abilities, we overall call it as particle abilities. So here our feature ability is developed using JavaScript, but we can also call particle abilities or the services that are readily available for us in that are written in Java. So going back with that analogy, if you remember, we were trying to tell yesterday one important thing. That is our distribution system, right? So how our FAs and AAs are linked. So there needs to be one entry HAP which needs to have ability, and you can have different types of abilities or features that can be launched directly from the entry. So here in this case, this can be written in Java or JavaScript. These also can be written in different languages. So these are independent functions that can run directly on the device or on the suitable hardware. So whatever we develop today till now, that is also linked to when we build this one, that also finally becomes a HAP. You see here, it is also a HAP where JavaScript is embedded. Each of these files, the HTML, CSS, everything is at runtime are converted to JavaScript objects, and that's how the Java engine understands how exactly they should render this on the image. So let's see here. So after this, yesterday we did one more important thing, right? After creating a button, what is next one? We need to create another screen, and we should see how we will go to the next screen. That is our another important thing, right? So let's try doing that now. So here we are here. If you create new, if you just click here, JS page, it allows you to start another one. So next, so if that is the index, so this is the next page that I want to create. So automatically these three things are getting added here, right? See here, till now it was showing pages dot index. Now suddenly we have next page. So what does this next page has? So let's see that as usual from, let us minimize this. So again, we have a division text. It is having a hello title, whatever is the title. Let's see that also. So let's see from JS, it is hello world. And we have few other things over here. So let's see from the preview, how does this look? Okay. Can anybody explain why it is looking somewhere off, somewhere on the other part?
Sorry, your question we didn't get.
See, last time when we were seeing here in index, it was looking so at the center, right? In this case, it is looking somewhat in odd place. Can we, seeing this, can we tell why?
Top left 0px.
No, earlier pages dot index like that it came. Now sequence order it is coming, right? That is what you're
No,
asking.
no, 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 no. Now the hello world is here, right? Top left corner. It is not here. Last time when we started hello world, it was here, right? If you remember, maybe this is still up. I have not run on the device, so still it is here. It was by default when I run, it was coming like this, right? Now it is not like this.
Because
Maybe it's
of
the
width and height.
Maybe it is in the center of the containers width and height. Okay.
Correct. So it directly shows this is a thing, right? So let us inspect a little. So if you see, the entire container is here, but with respect to that, it is in center. Everything looks perfect from here. So that's all about this one. There is nothing to be worried.
Maybe we can change the width and the height of the container.
So if I do this, what happens? It's done, right? So maybe I would like to change a little bit over it. This is another way. Maybe we can see how we can add text and title. So what happened? What is the problem here? Again, we have this problem, right? The width and height is predefined. So this is what it is. Now let's go back to our original thing. Now this is what we were doing. So now to make it work, what I should do? I should, yesterday what we did a set listener and then we immediately added, right? So what we can try over here is similar to that one. It's
On-click
usually on click. So on click on what? So
method name we
before
need to
doing that, we can click, create over here. We can create any name. For simplicity, I'll understanding, I'll make it as on click. So as I said, there are few things that are readily available for us to use here. Somebody should mute. There is some additional noise coming in. So there is a feature called as routing. So let us import that module over here. If you type this, automatically you will know. But when you import, when you just try to import things, right, you can see what are the different system available models that are readily available. You have app related features, battery information for IoT devices, Bluetooth, again for IoT devices for connection, brightness configuration, brightness that you want to set for the device based on your functionality, device information, other system configuration, file or access, geolocation access, network access, notifications, package information. This is prompt is dialog. This is requesting other things, routing, sensors on the device, any shortcuts that you want to delay, internal storage, vibration feature. So these are some of the things that are readily available. Other than that is there is a media query to for images, all these things. So right now I just need route. So I will just import this. So this is a very simple thing feature for here. So you need to just use router and we need to do a method. We should call a method called push. Oh, I think I did not. Then we need to provide the information in terms of URI. So that is also pretty easy. So it needs to give based from pages or any relative index you can give. I will give from pages. Our thing is next page module, and then we are having next page. So that's it. So if I do this, will it work?
It's a typo. Next.
Come again?
Typo. Next page.
Yeah. Typo. Okay. So will it work now? Let us see running it if it works now.
Devices in the other.
Yeah. I'm seeing whether it is, once it says it is installed here, then we can directly. It will launch now. If I click next, I can see it is flickering, but nothing happened.
I think we missed a semicolon.
No, have we mentioned there? Have we
Router.push.
mentioned?
Yes. That is what we haven't done. So we have to give on click here. So this is the only thing that we have missed. So we can always go back and see in terms of syntax, it was no issue. So that's why it didn't give any problem to us. But in terms of other things, we can always go back, look into this simple things, and then we can execute it. So now let's see it works. It worked. So this is as simple as that. I think it has less concepts that we need to digest, and also majority of us will be familiar with JavaScript based of communication. With that, I would like to introduce to some of the things that we need to know. So most of the JavaScript is present in our documentation. Let me, when you go to documentation and you click guides, so here when you see this Java UI, there is a complete thing about JavaScript framework. So it gives a detailed information of how we should do, what all we should understand, and how custom components are there. We will cover it in few sessions. If another one session hands-on will be there on JavaScript, so we will cover some information there also. But for ease of understanding this is a better place. And this is just an introduction. If you go to reference, it gives a huge set of information for us. Another important thing we should see is within JavaScript, we have again two categories. So we have API reference over here. So you can see all that is available for smartphones. You have a framework. This from here, if you start analyzing, I think hardly it takes one day for covering this entire thing. So you will understand majority of the concepts, what are the different media queries, what are the containers that we have, components, and even we have, I think here we have one specification list also. What are the tags that are available, how to do what, width, height. I think some of the basic concepts that we saw today, we discussed are all explained in detail here. So I strongly recommend all of you guys to go check on all these things. And there is another important thing. We were discussing about it multiple times. There is another framework on JavaScript itself that is for light variable development. So light variable are, we usually call it as L0, L1 devices, where it has very, very minimal footprint. It might not even have enough information or a LED display or what we are getting right now, AMOLED displays and the graphics engines to render rich UI. So we have very compact layer. So the main difference between light variables and this is in terms of the components that are available. If you see here, it has very less set of containers. The components will be very, very less. Only these kind of things can be added here. So there is a clear differentiation that has been done to make sure only these components are used for developing light. But the same light code, if you use these components over here, it will still work. So this is the lowest set of implementation where you can keep building it till the smartphones. So in terms of standard and this, already we have information on that also, how which are standards, ideal standard. This is more to do like inter-process communication and all, how we use. I think this we might cover or we might not. We will see based on the availability. This is mainly used for IPCs that needed for multiple processes that we have on the device. So this is a very basic introduction for JavaScript. Today I have been informed that some of you have other session or other training at 5 o'clock. So I've tried to wind up this before 5 o'clock itself. One important thing I would like to, based on JavaScript, I'm not going to give any special assignment. You can do the same assignment what you did for Java. Similar thing you can do over here. I think using JavaScript, you might do it much faster. I think 10 times faster than what you would have done in Java, based on your comfort again. But I feel it's pretty easy. You don't have to think much. You can start building it using the IDE features. Use the features available. Just keep adding. For moving around, we already saw how router works. So you just have to implement router and your work is done.
Sir, yesterday we wrote some code like for clicked listener or on click event. We wrote code in main ability slice, right?
Okay.
So here we are not writing anything in main ability or my application.java.
Yes, right. This implementation, as I explained, the complete feature ability is available directly in JavaScript. You don't have to depend on Java. And also one important thing I explained was here the main ability is extending from ace ability. So it is trying to, whenever this on start is called, it will call the corresponding initialization of JavaScript. Another important concept, let me continue that one. When you come here, this is a point where your JavaScript start. This is one important thing that we have. So set instance name. So wherever we are seeing here in config.json, right? So here we are having a name of our page. This is the next page, right? Index page. So here we are directly launching in main ability. If you give so this is an instance where it will try to see, it will try to initialize directly this component, the index component. So if you want to change anything else, you can still try to change that one. So what I'm trying to say here is during onstart of main ability, the JavaScript engine loads the pages based on the configuration that is available here. Here, the first page that needs to be launched, we are directly told here in this order, that is index.html. So directly it goes here and starts loading it. So how the system knows this is a JavaScript, that is from the config.json that will be present here. So it will understand there is a Java component and I need to load that one first. And one more important topic should be, it is something like this. So right now we saw these things, right? Router. So there are so many things that are readily available. What about some feature? Maybe a very simple thing will be Wi-Fi. I don't have Wi-Fi flexibility here, right? But I might need Wi-Fi. I want to make Wi-Fi on, off. I might have to control tethering, all these actions. So what to do about it? And you're not given any direct packages. So for this, we can build this by ourselves. We can write a Java component where it takes care of the commands that you are sending in JavaScript. And in Java, you do the operations that is needed in the ability, in the main ability. You will do the operations that is needed for this. And then we will handle the interaction between JavaScript and Java. So we will have another hands-on session for that. That is one important thing. It's also pretty easy, but only thing we need to know is how this event handling, there is a syntax and there is a way how you do this. So if you just follow the rules properly, it is pretty easy. You can follow that. So we will have that continuation session. But as of now, to start off with, first and foremost, we would like to continue and complete some of the Java UI based hands-on sessions. Tomorrow and day after also, we will have few of them. So we will keep continuing that one. And along with that, you practice JavaScript when you have time. I am explicitly again trying to say Java UI because right now our focus from this community is for harmonious Java UI development, and immediately we will be working on Java library development. So for that reason, I am focusing more on that. But JavaScript also is equally important and it is more versatile. I can make n number of features or n number of UI functions that can seamlessly work on the phone. So that is something that I would like to see in future. But over a period of time, once we start Java libraries, we will have much more JavaScript hands-on, and we will also develop some JavaScript library for Harmony environment.
Sir, so for today's assignment, we just need to make the form fill up.
Yeah, that is
for
a main
sign up
assignment.
and
Yeah, for you guys to practice JavaScript also, do the same thing what you did in Java in JavaScript. So it's the same thing here. And it is much easier also. So the key assignment, as I said, first it's where was we? We were in Slack. Okay, this is the main thing that we are going to do. Okay, so this we will achieve using Java UI. And tomorrow we have another hands-on on database, how to handle database, persistent memory, persistent storage, and preferences. So let's hope we all catch up on that. Any
Yeah, it
other?
is related to SQLite or MySQL.
The database that we are using, underlying database is SQL, but we will not talk about SQL. We will talk about how we use ORBs in Harmony and how RDB store that is there in Harmony is used.
SQLite or SQL? RDM
SQLite.
Okay.
For majority of any platform, if you take for mobile domain, majority we use SQLite only.
Yes.
So any other doubts we have today for today's session? I think I'm showing yesterday's thing.
Yeah, here HTML tags are there, right? Including the tags, the classes which we Harmony OS dependent class we are including, correct?
Yes.
Now
No,
the
you
class
mean
is
to say this class or which one? Which
button class.
Yeah,
button
yeah.
Class is equal to button. This button related things specified by Harmony.
Component. Yeah, this is specially for Harmony. You can see here button class is there.
Yes. If we integrate some other framework here for UI related things, does it support or do we need?
We need to customize. We might not be able to integrate a complete browser-based JavaScript framework, but we can integrate few lighter libraries, which will help you because we have a JavaScript rendering engine, right? So that follows a guideline for which the syntax has been evolved. So certain libraries, when you're integrating also, if you have the source code of it, if it is an open source, we might have to change a little bit of tags in that one, the usage of tags according to HTML syntax, and then it is good to go.
Okay, you mean to say we can write our own CSS instead of customizing outside things? That is what you're saying?
No, outside CSS, what you have, you might have to modify that CSS in such a way that it matches the parameters of Harmony. It might still be the same. Maybe, for example,
we are not overriding that class. Okay, we are not overriding the class button. We can give an ID here. And that ID CSS, we can write that style, everything we can apply.
Yeah, you can also use the same ID concept over here. You can there is a ID you can give here also.
Mm.
You can start giving it is same as regular JavaScript development. There is an ID variable here. We can give that and we can start accessing it.
Okay. And based on this class, for mobile, this button will act like one style, and for tablet, it will be appearing some different style like
No,
that.
actually,
We need a,
style, I override everything here, right? We just now overrode for this button class. We did majority of the things. The basic button, if we see, this is how it is, right? Let us remove this everything. So this is how the default one comes.
yes.
So this is good for nothing, right? So we customize it for our own things from scratch. So we are so what button actually is giving us is the on click feature. It's allowing, and some of the other features that it can add for button. For more, I think for components we have that specification. Each and every maybe we'll see that.
Oh,
You can see a button. So you can see what are the things we can do for button. You can add a ID, class, reference. You can say whether it is enabled, disabled. Data binding you can do for that. On touch events, different types of touch event. We only did touch, right? That is like the base event. So we have on touch. So some of the places we do this, right? On touch, you do certain operation.
mouse event,
Hover
right?
over, yeah,
Yes.
move, everything we can do. There is a swipe event also. So different types of style components that you can add. So these are some things that are already there. Even we might have few methods also. So there is set progress also for the button. So how so button we can have a progress bar also. So where it shows how we are progressing. So here are some basic components that might be very useful for us. Apart from this, if we have anything else, we can still use it. So like how Java is having its own we have one container here, but it might not have more information like we have. So it has only like this. So we can directly see these are all in this format. It's better we see directly from our website. It is quite updated in terms of JavaScript.